Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. King Alarm workers stage protest, demand better pay and treatment. Road safety crisis worsens, 5 persons killed in 48 hours. Road safety sounds another alarm. And later in sports, Jamaica's race for qualification continues for Olympics in men's mile relay. Thank you for joining us. I'm Shamela Pullen. Here are the details. A group of workers from security company King Alarm staged a protest at the company's office Monday morning in St. Andrew. They cite poor treatment from management and are demanding better pay, but the company's management is expressing surprise. Carrie-Ann Simpson reports.
Monday morning saw a group of disgruntled King Alarm workers holding placards outside the company's premises in St. Andrew. The workers are upset about what they say is the poor treatment they've been getting from management.
We are being overworked. And not paid. One team in Spanish Town, one in Portmore. How on earth we are there working? We are there working miracles out there. We have been bombarded with signals. Believe me, we are tired of this and we are being underpaid. We cannot feed our families.
Some workers also accused the company of victimization following attempts to get unionized.
Demote team leaders because they heard that we are going to unionize.
They're giving an increase also.
Why were you demoted?
No one tell me.
Demote more than one team leaders because they are a part of the union, because I heard that they got the list of persons. Because we are far advanced to be unionized.
They further contend they have been left with no choice but to take their grievances public as the company's management has failed to engage in dialogue and address their concerns. But when contacted, Senior Operations Manager at King Alarm Services Limited, Delano Virgo, refuted the claims made by the workers.
All employees who carry out overtime duties, once they submit their hours of work and it's vetted, they are compensated for the hours worked. So if a member of the team is not being paid for their overtime, he or she needs to confirm if they had submitted their hours. And if so, the matter would have to be investigated to ascertain why they were not paid.
Mr. Virgo says he is unable to provide details because of a legal matter involving some of the employees involved in the protest.
I want to encourage those employees that have some concerns to come in and speak with the management of the company, right? We have an open door policy here and we welcome them to come, sit with us, speak with us, let us see how we can resolve whatever issues they are having.
Carrie-Ann Simpson, TVJ News.
The number of road fatalities continue to climb. It's why Vice Chairman of the National Road Safety Council, Dr. Lucian Jones, is sounding the alarm again on the urgent need for implementing measures to reduce crashes and deaths. More in this report.
The National Road Safety Council's call to action comes as 5 unidentified males died in 2 separate crashes over the weekend. On Saturday, a 23-year-old man succumbed to injuries sustained in a collision at the Ironshore Main Road and Morgan Road intersection in St. James, reportedly caused by a driver disobeying a traffic signal. Yesterday, 4 males riding motorcycles met a tragic end in Cologne, Westmoreland after crashing into a bus. Expressing his concern and frustration, Vice Chair of the Council, Dr. Lucian Jones, emphasized the critical need for swift action.
I'm appalled this morning to receive the news that 5 young men have died in the last 48 hours. I'm appalled because these people have died and their families are suffering, but also concerned that some of the measures that we need to put in place is being delayed.
Dr. Jones urged authorities to expedite the rollout of CCTV cameras, which he believes would significantly enhance crash investigations and deter reckless driving. Additionally, he reiterated the importance of lowering the blood alcohol threshold to reduce alcohol-related accidents.
This is something which the Prime Minister agreed that we'd explore. I don't know the circumstances before the measure was put in place in Argentina, how effective their breathalyzer system was. But the fact that they had a dramatic drop, I think the number was 37%, shows that if we use the breathalyzer system carefully and effectively, we can make a difference in the number of people who are dying on our roads.
To date, 190 persons have died in road crashes, although 10% less than last year. Dr. Jones says this cannot continue. Nakinski Robinson, TVJ News.
As part of Road Safety Month, the Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services, TODS, along with other stakeholders, launched an island-wide public education motorcade campaign. On Friday, our news team caught up with President of TODS during the first leg of the campaign.
We start in Kingston from Crossroads to Halfway Tree. And then we are here now in Old Harbour, then we're going to go into Maypen, then into Mandeville, then into Santa Cruz, and right across the island.
He says the motorcade will be ongoing over the next 6 months. So far, reception has been positive.
Especially among our coastal drivers. When they saw the hearse, right, and the wrecker, and everybody, I think they were really receptive to it, and it encouraged them to drive slow. But believe me, the message has to be pronounced by all stakeholders. We have to get the message out there, talk to the people about reckless driving.
The 10th biannual Diaspora Conference is now underway at the Montego Bay Convention Center. Our reporter Kalisha Williams is there and filed this report.
Thank you. Now, as you can see from people leaving the building, the first session just ended. It started around 9 o'clock and it was centered around investment and business, where Minister of Investment, Auburn Hill, encouraged members of the diaspora and investors overall that Jamaica is open for business. Now, we also heard some other ways in which persons can invest, and real estate was one of the big ticket items. We also heard how the government will be looking to form more partnerships with African countries to see how they can foster potential export avenues. Now, as soon as the floor was opened for questions, there were some concerns, especially from members of the diaspora in regards to crime and security. Now, violence was one of the big issues, as well as cybersecurity. In fact, one member of the diaspora raised concern about how the government will ensure that their assets will be protected once they invest in the country. And he provided an example mentioning how his Airbnb was broken into and just how concerned he was overall. Now, while I said earlier that session was about investment and commerce, the panel couldn't really ventilate all those issues. But Minister Auburn Hill mentioned that crime overall this year, has been low. And he pointed the members to the next session, which will be on safety and security, where the police commissioner will be making a presentation. Now, I'll have more on that story in primetime news, but overall, exciting days ahead here at the Jamaica Diaspora Conference. It has so far surpassed the target of 1,000 persons registering for the conference. And I'll be here on the ground until Wednesday, and I'll provide more updates in subsequent newscasts. This is back to you in studio.
The police are investigating the circumstances which led to the death of a teacher from Priory Infant and Primary School in St. Anne. 46-year-old Courtney Evans was found at home in Bamboo, St. Anne sometime after 5 a.m. He had wounds to the face. It's understood Mr. Evans left his home briefly Sunday evening and returned with bloodstains on his clothes. Mr. Evans told his partner he had a fall but refused to seek medical attention. He went to bed and did not wake up, but the police are currently at the scene. President of the Press Association of Jamaica, PAJ Milton Walker, says investigations are ongoing into the threats made against Television Jamaica TVJ reporter Giovanni Dennis. The threats came after Mr. Dennis's report on illegal drag racing. The PAJ says it highlights the ongoing challenges journalists face in Jamaica. He was speaking on TVJ's Smile Jamaica Monday.
I don't want to go into the details because there's a police investigation which is going on, and we reported it last week to the police, and I know it's been escalated to the Cybercrimes Unit, CTOC, and they are involved as well. And the police are conducting their investigations, and I would just leave the police.
You're head of news and sports here at our group. What's the word when you hear things like that or things like this? what's the word to your journalists?
First, it's very distressing and discomforting and nerve-wracking, you know, because you have to start looking at your own personal safety.
The PAJ president also addressed Jamaica's press freedom ranking, which had previously fallen but has since rebounded.
It's thought that the incident involving the TVJ correspondent in St. Catherine and the Gleaner reporter being attacked. The TVJ cameraman's camera was damaged because he was attacked, and the thug attempted to seize the Gleaner's reporter's phone. That's a threat to press freedom because you're preventing journalists from doing their work and you're intimidating them. And, you know, we had the incident last year where there's a shooting in the parking lot of Nationwide compound.
Mr. Walker emphasized the PAJ's commitment to ensuring the safety and security of media professionals. It's time for a break. Stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. The inflation rate in Jamaica has moved from 12% to 5.6% over a 3-year period. That's according to Prime Minister Andrew Holness, who says they are now working to lower the cost of living even further. The Prime Minister says inflation is not just a local problem, but it is also an issue on the global map.
Because of COVID, because of the war in the Ukraine, and other global disruptions, world prices for global shipping and other logistics costs have increased significantly.
He was speaking during a tour of the Spring Village community in Old Harbour, St. Catherine recently, where a new bridge is to be constructed soon.
It is important that you know that your government cares about your living circumstances. And repairing the bridge is one way in which we tangibly demonstrate that we care about your circumstances. For all those people who are delayed, who have to walk long distances because of the bridge, that bridge will be repaired. And I also want to commend Jamaica Broilers for its good corporate citizenship because they are contributing $50 million to the bridge.
It's now time for the Business Minute.
Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago are being encouraged to join the Afrexim Bank. The organization based in Egypt provides financing options to members. So far, 11 of 15 full CARICOM members have signed on. Prime Minister Mia Mottley of Barbados, in an interview with our news center, said there are significant potential benefits to come from the third staging of the Afro-Caribbean Trade and Investing Forum.
Habit builds institutions. This is the 3rd year, and hopefully we're building an institution framework that will mean that the connections between ordinary people in Africa and the Caribbean will make the connections, and not just banks or financial institutions or businessmen. But this is the beginning, and I'm so happy that we're into our 3rd year. I'd love to come to Jamaica or Trinidad next year for the 4th, so let's see what can happen.
Further afield, Toyota is recalling some 13,000 2023 Crown vehicles because of camera defect. The automaker says the front and rear view camera cases can allow water to get inside, causing the cameras to malfunction. The concern is that the rear view camera obstruction could increase the risk of drivers striking pedestrians. Toyota says it will contact owners of the affected vehicles by mid-August. The company said dealers will repair the affected cameras or replace them if necessary for free. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Kerrian Simpson.
Time now for the top regional and international stories.
in the region. Grenada's Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sean Charles has confirmed an outbreak of gastroenteritis on the island. Samples were sent to CARFA in Trinidad and Tobago to identify the responsible virus or bacteria. So far, there have been 155 reported cases. Dr. Charles stressed the importance of personal hygiene, clean water for drinking and cooking, and sanitation in food preparation areas. On the international scene, an Israeli official says Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has disbanded the country's war cabinet. The official said the security cabinet will continue to decide on war matters. The source indicates that Netanyahu will hold similar forums on sensitive matters. He cited Netanyahu's failure to devise a strategy for the war in Gaza and the future governance of the Strip. The war cabinet was formed 5 days after the Hamas-led terrorist attacks on October 7. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Nakinsky Robinson.
We head to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have your midday sports report with Jordan Fort.
Welcome back. It's now time for Midday Sports. The Jamaica Athletics Administrative Association, J3As, will be forced to dig into its bag of resources if it is to qualify the country's men's 4x400 meters relay team to the Olympic Games in Paris. This after the quartet of Raheem Hales, Javon Powell, Kimar Farquharson and Therese Roden failed in their bid to run below 2 minutes 59.12 seconds at the New Life Invitational in the Bahamas on Sunday night. Competing against Barbados and an All-Stars team, Jamaica crossed the line in 2 minutes 59.75 seconds, outside their current seeding time of 2 minutes 59.34 done at the World Athletics Championships in Budapest last year. While the time was a meet record, the Jamaicans needed to run faster than the 2 minutes 59.12 to move ahead of 16th place Zambia and secure the final spot to the Olympic Games in Paris. With a cut-off date of June 30 set by World Athletics, the J3As has 13 days to find a solution, which could include hosting a men's 4x4 relay at the National Senior Championships and inviting teams to participate. Now, with the Super 8 stage of the ICC World Cup on the horizon, West Indies captain Rovman Powell has shared his concern over the team's inconsistent batting in their first 3 games of the tournament. It took a player of the match performance from Roston Chase to lift the West Indies to a win over Papua New Guinea in their opening game before the heroics of Sherfane Rutherford against New Zealand, when the team found themselves 30 for 6. However, with 1 game to go against Afghanistan to close out their Group C participation, the Windies captain is asking for more from his batters, starting at the top with St. Lucian Johnson Charles, who will be playing in front of his home crowd at the Darren Sammy Stadium.
I think not just him, but all of us as batters, have a very subtle start to the World Cup, but tomorrow presents an opportunity here at the Darren Sammy Stadium, for us as batters to get it right, it's also a better opportunity on a better wicket, so just like myself and Johnson Charles, we're definitely looking forward to it. We know that Johnson is definitely a match winner for us, so we'll see how best as possibly go tomorrow.
The match will bowl off at 7:30 p.m. Now, there'll be one newcomer to the Ray and Nephew Jamaica Premier League for the 2024-25 season after Racing United and Chapelton Maroons secured their places in the nation's top flight by reaching the final of the Jamaica Football Federation JFF Championship on Sunday. Racing United, who have gained promotion to the Premier League for the first time, will join Portmore United and Dunbeholden as the St. Catherine clubs next season after they prevailed 2-1 on aggregate over Reno. Racing, who won the first leg 2-0, lost 1-0 away at the Landilo Sports Complex. Meanwhile, Chapelton Maroons will make a swift return to the Premier League after being relegated at the end of the 2022-2023 season. As they did walk away last week, Chapelton Maroons clipped True Juice 2-1 for a 4-2 aggregate win. And that's it for your Midday Sports Report. Shamela?
Thank you, Jordan. And that's the Midday News. I'm Shamela Pullen. Join us at 7 for Primetime News. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, good afternoon.